students in grade 12, good afternoon. Welcome to our first English seminar for this year. This is Basil Sadiq speaking from the Syrian Educational Channel in Damascus. Well, dear students in grade 12, I'd like to invite you to the first seminar for this year. As you know, when we start our seminars every year, we always try to focus on some important issues in the curriculum, in your course I mean. We will try to discuss some important topics, some important texts, and we will try to highlight some grammatical skills. I mean, when talking about grammar, of course, we will deal with different skills concluded or found in your course. Well, at the beginning of this seminar, dear students, let me first welcome my colleagues in the studio who are going to participate me today. Miss Lucia Karim, an English supervisor from Aleppo. Good afternoon, Miss Lucia.
Good afternoon,
and thanks
Mr.
for
Basil.
coming from Aleppo.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Mr. Mazen Abdul Karim, an English teacher from Damascus Directorate, Damascus Countryside Directorate.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good
Mr.
afternoon.
Mazen. Well, dear students, as you know, the title of our seminar for today is about Unit 1 and Unit 2. Well, as you know, in Unit 1, there are, of course, some texts. We will try to cover these texts. Of course, it's not a lesson of English, it's a seminar. So we will try to have some discussions about the most important, let's say, points in Unit 1 and the most important points in Unit 2. I'll try to start with the first text in Unit 1, which is New Crimes. Of course, in Unit 1, as you know the title, if you we can use the laptop if you like. As you can see, the title of Unit 1, which is the law. Of course, in this title, the student should know everything about this term or this field. I mean, when talking about the law, the student should know that there are many types of laws. He should, let's say, have a definition of the law. He should try to write statements about the law and discuss important topics about law. Why we have laws, for example, in our society, what is the benefit or what is the purpose of laws in our life. So these are, let's say, the most important skills in Unit 1. Of course, when talking about any text, the student should know that every text, let's say, contains some new vocabulary. So the student should be able to know how to use these, let's say, these new words by writing his own statements or structures. I mean, at the end of the unit, he should be able, of course, to write, for example, a paragraph about something. We will see later. In Unit 2, it's the same. Here we have another topic. Of course, we are going to talk about it later when we finish Unit 1. So let me start with Miss Lucia. Miss Lucia, as you know, the title of Unit 1 is the law. Here we have a text which is New Crimes. Of course, we can watch it by using the laptop. Here we are. It's page 14. Yes, here. We have the text now. Is it, can we see it? Can we use the laptop? Thank you very much. Okay. Now, when talking, as I said, about laws, Miss Lucia, from the very beginning, from the first sentence, which is called the key sentence in this text, the law related to computer crime is changing very quickly. So if I ask you, which law is changing very quickly?
Actually, the general idea of the text, which is New Crimes, is that modern criminals are using computers in order to commit crimes, but the crimes are different from the older crimes.
Yes.
The older crimes are theft, fraud. Here we've got another thing, which is identity theft. And here we've got confidential information that the users don't want the others to see, but here modern criminals can just enter whatever they want and take the information that they want to take.
Thank you, Ms. Lucia. You mean modern criminals nowadays use computers to commit new crimes. They use technology, I mean,
Yes.
to commit new crimes. What kind of new crimes are mentioned here in this text, Mr. Mazen?
We have all the crimes and the new crimes. All the crimes concerning with fraud and theft. The new crimes have to do with identity theft.
Now, when we talk about identity theft, maybe some students should know the meaning or should have a definition of this a new crime. What is identity theft?
It's
Ms. Lucia?
the crime of stealing someone's personal information. This is the identity theft. And actually in modern crimes here, it's more difficult to solve and more difficult to prosecute the person who is taking the identity theft or just take something which is, let us say, which is confidential for the person himself. So here it's more difficult just to follow.
And of course, there is one a new crime which is mentioned in this text, which is identity theft. The two maybe other old crimes which are mentioned in the text are,
fraud
as
and
Mr.
theft.
Mazen said, fraud and theft. What is fraud?
Fraud is to cheat or to lie to get something.
So it is a crime. It is
crime.
the crime of cheating or lying to
lying.
get money, maybe.
Yes.
Yes, to get money.
Yes.
Good. Now, as we said, modern criminals use the internet, use technology, use computers to commit new crimes. And to make it easier for them to commit all the crimes like theft and fraud. Now, but sometimes when talking about old crimes, I think it's very easy, let's say, to solve such kinds of crimes, but it's difficult to solve maybe computer crimes. Why, Ms. Lucia?
Let us take an example. New criminals can order goods without paying or just enter the bank accounts for someone. So in this case, how to follow this new crime and the criminal. And it's difficult because there is nothing seen here. It's just only on the computer and we can't see anything. So here what the criminal takes is not seen, it's invisible.
So it is difficult to solve a new crime because the criminals are invisible and their actions may be hard to prove. We cannot prove their actions. I mean, to prove is to show that something is true. When we talk about invisible, invisible means can't be seen. So the criminals are invisible. They can't be seen at all. We can't see them when they, let's say, commit such crimes. Again, it is very difficult to prosecute a computer criminal successfully. Why, Mr. Mazen?
Yes, because there is nothing actually stolen or physically damaged.
So to prosecute someone, I mean, for the students, it means to charge someone or to try someone. So
to take
it is
him
very
into court.
Difficult to charge someone that he has committed a crime. Why? Because, as we said, usually nothing is actually stolen or physically damaged. They didn't break a window, for example, or a door. They stole personal information or got money by cheating. So we cannot prove that they did such kinds of actions. Now, as we know, in recent years, computer crime has increased a lot. What is the reason for that?
As the number of people is growing just in using the internet and using the computers, this makes it just as a big number of people using the computers, and it makes it easier for the criminals just to get into or go through the password of someone and get into his bank account, as we've said before, and this makes all these things growing, let us say.
Exactly. Mr. Mazen, thank you, Ms. Lucia. Techno-criminals, let's say, do a lot of things by using the internet. Would you please give us an idea about some actions or some things they do by using the internet or by using technology?
So techno criminals, they can break into computers. They can order goods without paying, or sometimes they can send viruses which can damage the computers and the information they contain.
Good. So at the end of the text, in the last paragraph, it is mentioned that, let's say, modern criminals use the internet, and there is a reason for that. What is the reason, Miss Lucia?
Just take the information, let us say, from
What
meetings.
kind of information?
From meetings,
Confidential information?
Secret
information.
When we
information.
say confidential, what is the meaning of this word? Confidential information.
It's secret for
Or
the person.
private.
Private for
Yes,
the person
yes.
himself.
So more easily than meetings or telephone conversations.
Yes.
So it's very
That's why
easy.
they use the net.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very easy to commit crimes on computer than meeting or just phone conversation.
Thank you. Now, would you like to mention or to add something about this text? Miss Lucia, Mr. Mazen?
Concerning new crimes, it's different from the old ones. It's invisible. Computer criminals can access into the bank accounts, and it's more difficult to prosecute than the old ones. And it's a kind of increase in just seeing such things in our world because of the great number of people who are using the internet.
That's nice. Mr. Mazen?
Yes, I think people who just used computer should be aware of this crime and should not use visit card, credit cards, unless they trust this site, trust the site they are using.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
That's all, dear students, about the first text in your student's book, New Crimes. Before we go on to the activity book, I think we have a call. Mayar from Damascus. Good afternoon, Mayar.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Teacher. I'm fine.
Good, Mayar. You are in grade 12, right?
Yes.
Good. What section, scientific or literary?
In scientific.
Good. What's your question, Mayar?
I have question about tenses.
About?
Tenses.
Tenses.
Okay, we'll talk.
Good. We are going to talk about tenses, Mayar. When we finish these texts, we still have two texts. Maybe after 10 minutes from now, we are going to talk about tenses and about grammar concluded in Unit 1 and Unit 2. Don't worry. So you'd like to know about tenses, right?
Yes.
Present tenses or past tenses or future tenses or all tenses? I mean, do you have a difficulty when dealing with tenses?
No, but I need to know what is the difference between simple past and present perfect when we talk without adverb.
A good question, Mayar. The difference between the simple past and the present perfect simple. Okay, Mayar, we promise you
To answer.
after 10 minutes from now, you will have your answer. It's okay.
Thank you.
Please follow us and you will see everything about tenses. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your call. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's go back, dear colleagues, to the activity book, page 4. Here we have in Unit 1, as you can see. Again, the title is the law. Here, of course, we know that we have international laws, rules of law, and we have, let's say, local laws. I mean, each country has some rules of law, and again, as we live in a whole world, there are some, let's say, international rules of law. So this text is about international rules of law, which is the Geneva Convention. What is Geneva Convention, Mr. Mazen?
Yes, Geneva Convention is a set of rules, yes, international laws that protect injured during war.
Injured soldiers and civilians.
Civilian during war.
Thank you. Now, let's say, how does the Geneva Convention, Miss Lucia, help the victims of war?
We've got here, as an example, the Red Crescent in Syria, and it helped the injured soldiers and civilians during war a lot. This is, let us say, under the laws of Geneva Convention.
You mean there are some neutral organizations, international organizations all over the world. These organizations help, let's say, the victims of war, not only the victims of war, but they can help societies in peacetime.
Peacetime, yes,
in peacetime,
sure.
not only in war or during war.
Yes.
So it's okay. They give help. They provide some kind, let's say, of help to the people in each society, to the soldiers, as Mr. Mazen said, injured soldiers,
yes.
and to the civilians, to the prisoners, so to all people in society. What is the Red Crescent?
Yes, it is an international organization which help people during the time of war, and it helps also people during peacetime.
Good. So we know that the Geneva Convention, let's say, has been changed many times due to different types of war. So the reason why it is changed is that there were different types of war, and that's why it has been changed many times and updated also.
Yes.
So Syria, of course, is one of 200 countries in the world that agrees to follow the laws of Geneva. Now, why is the agreement of Geneva important, Ms. Lucia?
Because civilians at the time of war and even injured soldiers need help. And under the laws of Geneva Convention, all this kind of help is provided by the neutral organizations and give the care for the civilians
the
and
wounded,
soldiers as well.
People or soldiers. Yes, that's nice. I think that's everything about this, let's say, agreement or convention or treaty. But at the end of the text, it is mentioned that under the Geneva Convention, it doesn't matter. It's not important, I mean, what religion, gender or nationality
of
a person is, or even his political views are. It doesn't matter. So if someone is sick,
he must be treated without any kind of prejudice.
He must be treated without any. When we say prejudice, what is the meaning of this word, Mr. Mazen?
Yes, it means negative attitude towards people who are different.
Yes. To have a negative attitude towards someone if he is different. For example, if someone is black,
white. He's, for example, from different religion.
From a different religion.
Yes.
That's many reasons. They don't care about all these things.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what, as we said, what religion, gender or nationality a person is. What important is to get help. To give help, this person help. Let's say, help. Thank you very much. After this, we can go back to the student's book. In Unit 2, dear colleagues, dear students, we have another text which is about migration. When we talk about migration, to migrate is to leave your country and live in another country. This is the meaning of migration. So it is the movement of people from their country and living in a different country. This is the meaning of the word, migration. The verb is migrate. Now, of course, there are many reasons why people leave their home countries. And here we have the text now. Why do people leave their home countries?
The first reason is...
Give me two reasons, and Mr. Mazi can give us another or other two reasons.
Is the economic necessity. The example in our text is that in Ireland, we've got agriculture, and after the potato famine, people have to move here just to another part of the world because of the potato famine. Here, the reason is the economic necessity.
Economic reason.
Yes, it's here as a kind of economic necessity.
So some people leave their home countries for economic reasons. I mean, the economic situation in their country is not good.
Yes.
They have problems in their life or in the country. I mean, they are poor, for example, or there is hunger or famine, as you said. There are problems indeed, and for these reasons they leave their home countries to live in another place or in another country. This is one reason. Mr. Mazen,
yes.
the other, do
Yes.
you have another?
No, the other reason I want to
Okay.
talk about natural disasters.
Okay.
Natural disasters. So some people, as you said, leave their home countries for natural disasters. There is a volcano, for example.
Volcano,
An earthquake.
the text talks about Tristan da Cunha. It's an island, and we've got a volcanic activity, earth tremors in it, and people just moved to England because of this volcanic activity.
Good. Thank you very much. Before we go on, we have another call. Muhammad from Damascus countryside. Muhammad, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Good. We're okay. We're fine. Thank you. What is your question, Muhammad?
Okay. What's the difference between migration and immigration? And can we use it for human and animals at the same time?
A good question, Muhammad. I think Mr. Mazen will answer you.
Yes.
Mr. Mazen, please.
Yes. When we talk about migration, we usually use it when we talk about animals, which travel seasonally to just in order to find food or warmer weather. But we can use it also for people to make sure that they leave their country to another place. Okay. So we can use it. We can use immigration. It's to focus on the leaving. It means they leave their country to go to another place to work or just to find a better life. Yes.
Good. Is it okay, Muhammad?
Thank you so much.
Do you have another question?
No, thank you.
Okay, good luck. We wish you good luck.
Yes,
Mr. Mazen?
Mr. Basil, so we can use both words to express immigration of people and animals.
Yes. Thank you, Muhammad. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice question. Let's go back. So here, dear students, as you can see, the title of the text in the student's book in Unit 2, Why Do People Leave Their Home Countries? Here, as you can see, we have 3 paragraphs. I hope to use the laptop. Thank you. Thank you. It's ready now. Thank you very much. Here, as you can see, dear students, we have 3 paragraphs. I think each paragraph, let's say, talks or explains or describes one reason why people leave their home countries. In the first paragraph, there is a story about Ireland in the early 19th century. It was, the economic situation in Ireland was not okay, was very bad. The farmers were poor, and they used to, let's say, leave their home country to live in another country to improve their life. So the reason at the beginning was to get a better life. But later on, after the year 1820, something happened in Ireland.
Yes.
Let's say there was an economic disaster, maybe.
Yes.
Potato famine.
Potato famine happened or began.
Yes, began.
So what is potato famine? Why didn't they use another kind, let's say, of vegetables?
Yes, because,
Mr. Mazen.
yes, because potatoes were the main food for people in Ireland.
It was the main food.
The main food.
Most people used to grow or to plant potatoes.
Yes. And the disease destroyed 70% of
75%
of the crops of the potatoes. So they suffered from starvation.
So there was no food.
No food.
People were very hungry. In the next 2 years, maybe more than 350,000 people died of starvation, of hunger, of great
hunger. As a result, people immigrated.
So the result, people which pushed, let's say, or forced people to leave Ireland and choose, let's say, another country to live, for living. So that's why people left Ireland at that time. In paragraph B, in the second paragraph, Miss Lucia, please.
Yes, it talks about natural disaster. We've said before it's about Tristan da Cunha. It's an island in the ocean, and here just volcanic activity, with earth tremors, forced the people of Tristan da Cunha to leave it to another country, which is England. And after 2 years, people, when they voted to decide if they want to go back to the island or not, some of them agreed to go back, and some of them just adapted to the life in England and decided to stay there. And this is a kind of just how natural disasters affect
push people to
opinion
immigrate.
of people just to leave or not.
Yes, thank you very much. I think it is very clear. There is no need to, let's say, go in details. I mean, the students can, in their classrooms with their teachers, discuss all the details with their teachers and with themselves, with each others. What about the last paragraph, Mr. Mazen? I think the economic reason.
Yes, some
here
people.
is mentioned.
Yes, some people leave their country in order to find better life, and some people
That's why they, let's say, leave their home country to live in rich countries.
In rich countries.
In rich countries to improve their life.
Only.
That's it.
That's it. No
Very
more.
nice. Now we can go back to the activity book. In Unit 2, dear students, we have the last text now. I think it is at page 9. Here we are. Again, it is about migration, but it is about something different, migration of animals. Here, animal migration. What is animal migration, Mr. Mazen?
Animal migration is when an animal leave its own original place and go into a new place, a warmer place, to find only food or to raise the young.
Good. So animal migration is the movement of an animal from the place where it has been living to a different place and the return journey to their original home.
Yes.
To that original, to the original home of that animal.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
So when we say where do animals go in the return journey, they go to their original home.
For sure.
That's it. Now, why in general, Miss Lucia, do animals migrate?
Animals migrate either to find food or to raise their young.
To raise their young, you mean to bring up their children?
Bring up their
Bring
children.
up their children.
They have to move in order to find a better place which is warmer and suitable to live in during the long days of winter.
Good.
So they have to move. And sometimes they just do the same journey twice because they need to find warmer places during the year.
Good. But students should know that most migrating animals follow the same route
As their parents.
every
As
year
their parents.
and from generation
To generation.
They don't use a different route at all. They use the same route every year and from generation to generation. Now, we know that land animals cross mountains, forge
through rivers.
advance steadily through rivers, through oceans, and we have while birds and insects travel extensive distances, sometimes across continents and oceans. Fish and other creatures may migrate halfway around the world. Now, what about summer and winter? We have two seasons, let's say. Why do animals migrate north in summer, Mr. Mazen?
Yes, because the long summer days mean there is plenty of food, a lot of food. Yes.
And in winter?
In winter
or in autumn?
In autumn, they travel into the south. Yes, where they're into south because there is a warmer place.
A warmer place.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Miss Lucia, you mentioned, let's say, that you said that animals used to or travel or migrate, let's say, only twice every year. They do, two journeys in general. In general, they do 2 journeys every year. But sometimes there are other animals. They don't migrate.
Only to find food.
They
in this
migrate
case.
only if they need to find food or
more temperate weather.
Temperate weather. what is the meaning of temperate weather?
Not too
Temperate.
cold and not too hot.
Mild temperature.
Mild.
Yes.
When we have mild temperature.
Yes.
Good. That's all, dear students. We hope that we have covered everything important about these three texts. New crimes, why do people leave their home countries, Geneva Convention, in fact they are 4 texts, not 3, and the last one, which is animal migration. Now, dear students, we promised you to talk about grammar. We know that you are waiting for this, but I'd like to tell you that of course grammar, we should know everything about the grammar, but when you study grammar, try to let's say use grammar through context. I mean, learn grammar through context. Don't learn grammar, let's say, by heart. Or some students follow a traditional method when they study. I mean, they deal with grammar as they deal with physics or with maths, or sometimes they learn by heart. It's not good to learn by heart when dealing with grammar. You should learn grammar through context. I mean, what is the meaning of that? When I say through context, I mean you should read the text, try to find some statements, and these statements, of course, are written in different tenses. Try to conclude or to understand why is this sentence written here in the simple present, and why is this sentence written here in the simple past. Through this, or by this, when doing this, you will be sure that you will be able to understand how to use tenses, let's say, correctly. And of course, you can ask your teachers at school. It's okay. But when you study grammar alone, try to study it or try to understand it. Try to understand tenses through context, not by, let's say, learning
Let us
by
say,
heart.
Mr. Basil, learning grammar for the sake of learning, not for the sake of marks.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Try to have skills in English. Try to be able to use the language correctly. Don't worry about the exam. Don't think of the exam, of the final exam. We know that it's important for your future. We know that. But, I mean, when you raise the level of your skills, be sure that you will be able to do everything okay at the end of the year, I mean in the final exam. So don't think of the final exam. Think to understand how to raise your level of English, how to speak with others in a good way, how to read correctly, how to listen in English, how to think in English, how to speak in English, how to write in English. Be sure that at the end of the year you will be able to answer all the questions in the final exam very easily. We have a call from Damascus countryside. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
My name is Muhammad.
Muhammad, Damascus, from Damascus?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, Muhammad. What is your question?
My question is, in this sentence, country is who? Why do we use who, not which?
A good question. Do you have an answer? Would you like to answer?
Yes.
Muhammad
Yes.
is asking about a
Geneva.
sentence maybe in the text
Of Geneva.
where in Geneva Convention
Yes.
maybe. Here we have the word who, the relative pronoun who, instead of which with countries. It's okay, Muhammad, it's correct. We can say that. Why? Because we are talking about countries, and which means that we are talking about people, human beings.
That country.
That's it.
Yes.
The people in that country. So we can say countries who follow, and we can say countries which follow. It's okay. Both of them are correct. There is no mistake. Is it clear? Muhammad,
No.
is it clear? We can use who with countries. We can use it. Why? Because
We are talking
in
about
those
people.
countries,
We have people.
we are talking about people, Muhammad. So we can use who. And we can use which, of course. Both of them are correct. Okay?
Yes.
Any question? Any other question?
No, thank you.
Okay, good luck. Thank you very much.
Yes.
A good question.
To get out of this problem, Mr.
Yes,
Basil,
yes.
a student can use that, because that For
can be
both.
used with things and can be used with people.
People.
Yes.
It's okay, but here in the text, a lot of students, in fact, ask about this point every year. Believe me, they say, why do we use who here? We should use which instead, because here we have countries. So they think that a country is a thing, not
yes.
it's not a human being. But in this country, in every country, there are human beings, there are people. So when talking about countries, we are talking about people, about the population of those countries. So it's okay, we can use it. Now, dear students, as we promised you, in fact, in Unit 1, Mr. Karim, Mr. Mazen, Ms. Lucia, we have maybe two tenses only. Maybe we have the present perfect and the simple past, maybe. We have the past perfect. That's it. And we have the present perfect continuous. Maybe we have four tenses only in Unit 1 and in Unit 2. I mean, the other tenses are not mentioned here from the very beginning, and maybe they are not mentioned at all in the later, let's say, units, in later units. Why? Because the course depends on, let's say, previous information. I mean, the students should have learned other tenses in previous grades. I mean, in grade 11, in grade 10, in grade 9, grade 8. They have learned everything about tenses, but we will try today to revise, let's say, all tenses in order to enable you, let's say, to help you to know how to use different tenses, to understand the present perfect and to understand the past perfect. We will try to make a comparison also.
This helps them not only in making this
To
kind
write
of
a paragraph,
comparison,
for
writing a
example. For
paragraph,
writing,
making questions.
to write a with sentence, they need to understand tenses. To make passive, they need to understand tenses.
So
To use the reported speech, they need
it's
to
very
understand. So
important. It's the
tenses are considered the key in English grammar, because when you understand tenses, you can do everything okay. You can understand the conditionals, you can write, you can
use wish, etc.
Exactly. So, dear students, let's start. As you know, when talking about, we can use the laptop. Thank you very much. I'm trying to prepare now. We're ready. As you know, when talking about tenses, we have the present tenses and we have the past tenses, we have the future tenses. When talking about the present tenses, of course, the students should know, you should know that we have four types of present tenses. We have the simple present, the present continuous, or the progressive, and we have the present perfect simple, and we have the present perfect continuous. Miss Lucia, of course, will start talking about the present simple.
Present simple.
Please.
In general, the form of present simple is that I, you, we, they, we've got the base form of the verb. He, she, it, we've got S to the verb. If we move to the uses of the present simple, we use it for repeated actions. An example, we play tennis most weekends. I paint pictures sometimes. Salma usually goes shopping on Friday. Here we notice that we have the use of adverbs of frequency in all the sentences, because in present simple we have repeated actions, and in this case we have to
Or
use,
routine.
Yes, or routines, of course. An example of the routine or situation that we see
can I
as
have
permanent.
some practice of the present simple
Yes,
with you?
yes.
Yeah.
For
Yes,
example,
you
when
can.
I ask you, what do you do every day, Miss Lucia?
Every day I wake up at 7 o'clock.
So I do many things. I wake
up, then I go to my work, then I go back home and make lunch for my kids.
So this is the routine for
This
you
is
every
my
day.
daily routine,
This
yes.
is your routine, your
Yes.
daily routine.
Yes.
You do this every day.
Every day.
Good. Well, I wish you good luck. Really.
Thank you.
Mr. Mazen, what about you?
Yes, the same routine. Every day I wake up at 6 o'clock and then I go to school and after I finish teaching, I come back home and then just do a lot of things has to do with the teaching. And
Mr. Basil, who's
What about
making
drinking
lunch?
coffee?
well,
When I get up, I usually drink a cup of coffee before I do anything else. After that,
Good.
you can do.
yes,
You
I
can
can do something
You
else.
can start your day.
Exactly. So here we have good examples, really. We play tennis most weekends. I paint pictures sometimes. Selma usually goes shopping on Fridays. All these are considered, let's say, daily routine or repeated
As
actions.
repeated actions.
Repeated actions. Next.
We use it for a routine or situation that we see as permanent. Example, I work at a sports shop. It's a permanent job. They live in a very nice flat. In this case, we've got here a routine or a situation which is seen as
sorry,
permanent.
Miss Lucia, we have a call maybe. I'm sorry. Majid from Damascus, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Majid?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
We're fine, thank you. We are sure that you are working very hard in the baccalaureate,
Yeah.
aren't you?
Yes.
Good. What is your question? Your question, please.
How we can linking the best with the present perfect?
How can we
Link.
The
link?
best with the past with the present perfect.
We are going, in fact, to talk about
Yes.
the present perfect after 5 minutes maybe or
Okay.
from now.
Okay.
So would you please follow us
Yes,
to
great.
to be able to answer your question? We're going to talk about this. But before you go, Majid, I can give you a short answer, but promise me to follow us in order to know everything in details about these two tenses, the simple past and the present perfect simple. Both of them talk about something happened before now. The simple past is used to talk about something happened before now, and the present perfect is used to talk about something happened before now. I can say, I visited Lucia, and I can say, I have visited Lucia. Both of them are correct, but there is a difference, of course. Would you please follow us to know the answers
Yes.
in details? To know the difference?
No.
There must be a difference. When I say, I visited Lucia yesterday, I have visited Lucia. The present perfect here is used to talk about a performance or an achievement, sorry. Here we use the present perfect to talk about something that happened before now. Okay?
Okay.
Time is not important with the present perfect. There is no specific time with the present perfect. The present perfect, I mean, focuses on the action itself,
The achievement.
on the achievement, on your experience. I have run 5 kilometers.
we don't know
Here we have
exactly
something,
when
we have an
the verb
achievement.
happened.
But we use the past simple to know or to tell when the action happened exactly.
Specifically.
For example, I can say, I have visited London many times. It's my experience. Okay? Here we don't have a specific time. Right, Majid?
Yes.
I have visited London many times. Maybe Mr. Mazin asked me, really? When was the last time? Well, I visited it last year. You see? So when I want to tell you when the action happened or when I did this action, I use the past simple. When, I focus or I'd like to focus on achievement, something happened before. Now I use the present perfect. You can use both. It's okay. Don't worry about this. But of course, in English grammar, there must be some differences between these two tenses. Of course, there are other tenses. We are going to cover them after 5 minutes from now. Okay?
So students
Yes,
worry at the final exam how to differentiate between present perfect and past simple. Believe me, dear students, the sentence in the exam would be crystal clear.
Don't worry about the exam. Think of
How to
the
use
tense. How to use these tenses correctly.
Okay.
That's it. Okay?
Okay.
Good luck, Majid. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
very much.
call. Goodbye. Well, let's go back. Miss Lucia, please. You were talking about the present simple.
The present simple and about the routine or the situation we see as permanent, and the example that we gave was I work at a sports shop, it's a permanent job. So here, because it's permanent, we used the present simple. The second example is they live in a very nice flat. So here
it is a permanent situation.
A permanent
A state.
situation. A state.
Yes.
That's it.
What else?
Another use for the present simple is that we use it for thoughts and feelings. I think you're right. Faisal wants a new bike, and most children like ice cream. In these sentences, we've got thoughts and feelings.
Good. So when we try to express our feelings, I love, I like, I dislike, I hate, a general feeling about something,
We use the present.
we use the present simple.
Present simple.
Though we sometimes use the present continuous for something temporary. I mean, in general, I say, I hate parties, Miss Lucia. It's not true.
Really?
By the way, it's not true. For example,
Yes.
I'm giving you just an example. I love parties. I love parties, or I hate parties in general. And you invite me to a party in your house. And after 5 minutes, I feel that I have a good feeling about this party. I can tell you, you know, Lucia, I hate parties, but I'm loving this party. I'm loving this party. So here, in this case, I'm trying to express a temporary let's say,
action.
feeling, okay, a temporary feeling or action. Because it is a temporary action, I can use the present continuous in this case. But when I talk in general, I use the present simple.
I love
In
parties.
general, I love parties, or I hate parties.
Yes.
I like pizza. I hate, etc. So we hope that no one hates something, by the way. Okay, I think you're right. So here, it's my opinion. It's my opinion. I think sport is very necessary
So
in
talking
our
about
life.
your
It's my
thoughts is
opinion.
in the present
You
simple.
see? So when talking about opinions, feelings, or thoughts, thoughts means opinions. That's it. Good. What else?
We use it for states and facts. Example, I know Ahmad quite well. We live on a farm in the countryside. Latakia lies on the Syrian coast. Earth goes round the sun. All these sentences
Facts,
represent
states.
facts and states.
Good.
When I say, for example, wood floats on water, we can't
It
change
is a
this.
fact.
It's a fact.
Facts never change.
So
Water
we have to
boils
use
at
present simple.
100 degrees centigrade. Water freezes at 0
0 centigrade.
centigrade. So
Animals migrate to find food.
exactly.
So all the facts and states come in the
What
present
about the
simple.
form now?
Now, as we've mentioned before, it has the same form as the infinitive verb one. So we put for I, you, we, they, the base form of the verb. If the subject is a third person singular, he, she, it, we add s or es to the verb. I like becomes he likes. We put s. I go becomes she goes. Here we add es to the verb. I carry becomes as she carries.
Good.
Why do we put
Sorry for
Okay,
interruption.
okay.
I'd like to add something to your explanation, in fact. Well, dear students, you should know that there are some spelling rules when adding s to the verb. The general rule is to add s to the verbs when using present simple and with the subject he, she, or it, I mean third person singular. But sometimes we can't add s only. We need to add es if the
Yes.
verb ends with
Yes.
sh,
SH,
ch, o,
X,
x, double s,
Z.
z.
Yes.
So for example, I go, she goes. Here
She
we
goes,
add
we add
es, not s
es.
only, because the verb here ends with o. I wash. When we say Mazen washes his hands every
Yes.
day. For example, here washes, we add es,
Es
not
to the
s
verb.
only, because the verb wash ends with sh, and so on. So there are some rules. What about the second rule? Some verbs end with y. When we have verbs that end with y, we want to add s to the verb, we try to change the Y into I, then we add ES, and here we have an example. I carry, she carries, I study, she studies. But sometimes we have some exception. We have one exception, except if there is a vowel before the Y, don't change the Y at all.
Just only
add
S.
S.
I mean, I say, he says.
I
We
play.
don't change the Y here because before the Y there is a vowel,
got a vowel,
which is A. And
so
the
there's no
vowel,
change.
we have 5 vowels, A, E, I, U, and O. That's it. Do we have a call? Do we have a call? Razan. Good afternoon, Razan.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
We are fine.
Good.
Thank
Would you please raise your voice? We are okay. We are fine. Thank you. Raise your voice, Razan. Okay?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. What your question, please?
Can we use the simple past instead of past perfect in before and after?
I'm sorry. Would you please repeat again? The past perfect?
Yes. Can we use simple past instead of past perfect
Yes,
in
yes.
before and after?
I've got it. Yes, we can, of course. We are going to
Talk about this.
explain this, but
Okay.
I can say if we have before or after, I mean if the sentence is compound, I mean we have 2 clauses. For example, I visited Mazin before I went to school. And I can say I had visited Mazin before I went to school. Both of them are correct.
correct.
Why?
Why?
Why? Okay. When we have before, when we have in the sentence before or after, the relation between the 2 actions will be clear.
Clear.
Okay, we know which
one?
action happened first and which action happened next. Because we have after or before. But sometimes we don't have before or after. So in this case,
we have to
use the past perfect, not the past simple. So when you have before or after, you can use both, the simple past and the past perfect. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks for your call, Razan. Thank you very much. Thank you. Miss Lucia, have we finished? No, we still have something
Only one
about
point
the
left
present simple. Please.
about
Let me get the
questions
form.
and negatives. We use do and don't in negatives and questions with pronouns I, you, we, and they. We don't play tennis in winter, and do you play tennis? So in order to make question, we have to put do at the beginning of the sentence.
Good.
And if we want to make a negative, we have to put don't. And of course, after them, we have to put the base form of the verb.
Thank you. Now I think we use does also or doesn't with the
If
third
we've got
person
the
singular,
pronouns
with
of
he, she, it,
the third
yes.
person singular, which is he, she, it, we use does or doesn't. He doesn't want any help. Here in the negative, we put doesn't. And of course, we omit the S from the verb want. And concerning questions, what does he want? Also, here we put does and we omit the S from the verb want.
Thank
Because
you
we've
very
got
much.
does
Thank
here.
Mr. Mazen, now we can talk about the present continuous.
Yes. The present continuous is used to express.
Okay, before we go on, sorry, we have a call from a colleague. He is an English teacher, maybe. Mr. Khalid, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm okay. What about you?
Welcome, Mr. Khalid. And
like-
thanks for your call.
Thank you.
We're fine, and we're more fine now because you have called us.
Thank you very much.
Your
Thank
question,
you.
please.
I'd like to ask you about the past perfect simple in Unit 2. When we take, for example, sentences about like the last exercise in the activity book. For example, he looked for work for only 2 weeks. Then
What page, please?
Actually, I'm not at home. It is the last exercise in the grammar in the activity
In Unit
book.
2?
12, I think
Yeah,
11.
activity book.
In Unit 11.
Page 11.
Page 11.
Page 11.
Yeah.
What exercise,
We have
Mr.
two
Mazen?
sentences. The first one is about he looked for work for only 2 weeks.
Yes,
and
yes,
yesterday
yes.
he was offered 2 jobs.
Yes.
And there is another sentence
Yes,
which is my
the
father
student
retired
here,
last year and
the
then
student
he worked
has
for...
to match.
Yeah, he has to match.
Yes, yes,
exactly.
I know this exercise. Okay.
Now, when of course, in the first one, when he said he had worked for the same company all his life, And then we say he retired last year, okay, because the working happened before retiring. And in the other one also, he had looked for the work, then he was offered the job. But when I reach Unit 10, which talks about past perfect
I think,
continuous,
sorry, before you go on, Mr. Khaled.
What?
Here in this exercise, I don't think there is a mistake at all. It's very clear, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. Now,
Good.
it's nice,
Good.
but nothing is wrong.
It's okay.
But when we reach Unit 10, and we talk about the past perfect continuous, the students ask me, why don't we say, for example, had been looking for work for only 2 weeks? And why not, for example, had been working for the same company all his life? Here, because it focuses on the long...
Both are correct.
Now I see. I understand you.
Okay.
You are, Mr. Khaled, you are asking about the past perfect. Sometimes when we have a duration, you mean? Mr. Khaled, are you still with us?
Yeah, because...
When we have a duration for 2 years, all my life, or all my life, or all his life, etc. So it is considered a duration here, right?
Yeah, so it should be
and
past
when we
perfect
teach,
continuous, not past perfect simple.
I know. When we teach the students the present perfect simple, we tell them that the present perfect simple, for example, focuses on the achievement, what you have done.
You see?
And the present perfect continuous focuses on the duration.
Okay.
And it's the same for the past perfect, this is what you mean, and the same for the past perfect continuous. Now, but sometimes when we have a duration, I can say I have lived in Damascus for 5 years, and I can say I have been living in Damascus for 5 years. Am I right?
But at the end of the year,
same,
I mean, when
it's the same for the past perfect simple and the past perfect continuous, Mr. Khalid. So I can say I had lived here, I had lived in Damascus for 5 years before I moved, for example, to Canada.
Okay.
For example.
But when we reach, at the end of the year, the students are given this sentence, and they, I mean, when they are in Unit 2, they already know that this is about the past perfect. But at the end of the year, they have all the tenses.
I know.
So they start asking themselves, will their will their answer be considered?
So you need an answer.
As past perfect simple or
you need an
as
answer.
past perfect continuous?
Okay. You need an answer, Mr. Khalid.
Please.
I mean, you are now in a situation as a teacher. And you have to tell your students, let's say, a full answer about this. I'd like to tell you and to tell your students, dear students, that don't worry about this. Both of them are correct.
Correct.
I mean, in the final exam, when we have a duration and we're talking about an action that was in progress for some time before another action in the past, they can use the past perfect simple and they can use the past perfect continuous. Both of them are accepted, be sure. Don't worry about this.
And we've got some words that are clear-cut that we've got here. For example, past perfect continuous. For example, in page 85, student's book, we've got the word throughout. Here we've got past perfect continuous
and here in the exercise, it is mentioned both are possible. It is mentioned here.
And we've got two possible answers for the same sentence.
Yes.
But sometimes we've got clear-cut words that here we've got past perfect continuous. So, concerning the students, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Okay, Mr. Khalid.
If we don't have certain words, it's okay for both answers.
I'd like to thank you for your call, really.
Most welcome.
And I'd like to invite all English teachers in the field to communicate with us in every seminar and ask about the course, because what we need is the opinion of the field. We are trying in the Ministry of Education to raise the level of English, but we need your help. We need your opinions. We need your emotions, your cooperation with us, because we are here one team and we like to cooperate with you in the field, because you are the teachers and you are, in the classroom, face to face with the students every day. So what we need is to convey your feelings, your opinions, your problems, everything. Thanks again, and good luck, Mr. Khalid.
I have the honor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. It was a nice call, really.
Yes.
Mr. Mazen, please.
So I was talking about present continuous. We use present continuous to express about something which is happening at the time of speaking. For example, Ali is enjoying his holiday in London. Number 2, I'm making you a cup of tea, Mom. So here I'm talking about what's happening now. Now I'm making you a cup of tea. Number 3, Ali and Tariq are studying at the moment. Yes.
What else, Mr. Mazen?
Yes, present continuous. We use it for something happening about this time, but not...
The laptop, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, but
Okay.
not necessarily at the time of speaking. He is studying at Damascus University this year. I'm working at a sport shop this month.
But maybe you are now with us in the studio.
Yes.
You are not working. So it's not necessary at the time of speaking. I mean, as you said, the present continuous, I mean, most students know, Mr. Mazen, Miss Lucia, dear colleagues, that we use the present continuous for something that is happening now at the time of speaking. That's it. That's what they know about the present continuous. But they should know that there are some other uses. We can use it to talk about, as Mr. Mazen said, for something that is happening about this time, but not necessarily at the time of speaking.
Yes.
Yes.
This is number 2. Number 3, present continuous is used for the near future. I'm visiting Ruba today in the afternoon. So sometimes students have to know that we use the present continuous to express future, the near future. My relatives from France are coming to visit us in July. Means, you know, the next July, which is in the future.
Again, this is another use for
Yes.
the present continuous. Good.
So here also some students may get confused.
Yes.
For example, next, can they use the future, or both are correct? Don't worry about this.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Present continuous, it's the form. It's formed with subject plus be plus ing form of the verb. You know, verb to be, is are plus ing form.
Good. The present perfect now.
Yes. We are going to talk about the present perfect. You know, the present perfect is the present tense.
Maybe Razan asked about the present perfect.
And the link with the
Yes.
simple past. We'll
Yes.
talk
Now
about
we
this.
can talk about
We
it.
can't talk about this. The present perfect is the present tense of have plus a past participle.
We mean have as an infinitive.
Infinitive.
Have or has.
Have or
Yes.
has. And a past participle, you know, students
Verb
know
three.
that verb 3, yes. It tells us about a past experience or achievement with a definite result in the present. So here we are not talking about a specific time, we are just only talk about the achievement.
I've broken my leg.
I've broken my
You
leg.
can see that my
Now-
leg is broken now.
Now-
So we have a result.
Yes, we have result. I cannot go swimming.
When I say
Yes.
I have cleaned the car, so the
Now-
car is still clean.
Yes,
You
the-
can see the
yes.
car. It is clean
The
now.
cage is empty.
You
The
see.
bird has escaped.
Exactly.
So the result is in front of me.
Okay.
Present perfect is used to talk about something happened or never happened before now. Example, I have swum in the Dead Sea. It means I've done this action, but I don't want to tell you when. So the most important is the achievement, which is I have swum in the Dead Sea. Number 2, I've never visited Cairo. So from the past up till now, I haven't done this job.
Good.
Yes, which is I have never visited Cairo.
Before we go on, we have another call. It's very nice, really.
Yes.
We have a lot of calls today.
Yes, Rich.
Rami, good afternoon.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi, sir. It's really very important to me that I'm going to see you next month. But I have a question that keeps revolving in my mind about the tense. What is the best tense that I have to use while I'm writing a paragraph?
I can't hear you very well.
I mean, what is the best tense when he just wants to write a paragraph?
It depends, Rami. If you want to write about a past experience, for example, you should use the past tenses. If you want to talk about or to write about, let's say, a daily routine or daily routines, okay, what you do, a lot of things you do, for example, every day, so you use the present simple, the present continuous, I mean present tenses. It depends It depends. We can't say that it is better to use the past simple every time you write a paragraph. It's not good. It's wrong to say that.
Yes.
You see, it depends on the experience and on what you are going to write about. That's it.
Thank you. I'm really thankful to call you and get that experience. I'm looking forward to seeing you, all of you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rami. We really appreciate your call, appreciate your question. Thanks a lot. We wish you good luck, and we are very sure that at the end of the year you will get the full mark, because as I can see, your English is
Great.
very, very good, and you can speak fluently. Well done, Rami, and good luck. Thank you very much.
And that's why, Mr. Bassel, we tell the students, don't memorize ready-made topics, because at
Exactly.
the end of the year, maybe we've got the same topic, but asking it in
fact,
the past
Ms.
instead
Lucia,
of in present.
what I like to advise, I'd like to advise the students, dear students, and say that in English in general, we don't have rules, for example, or specific rules or fixed rules for writing. It is called free writing. You can write freely, but when writing, when talking about this skill, there are some rules we should follow. When talking about listening, there are some rules we should follow. When talking about speaking, there are some rules. But in general, use your own language. You are free to express and to write what you like. But when you write, you have to write, let's say your writing must be grammatically correct. I mean, your structures are connected very well, correctly. The use of the tenses. You have a variety of tenses in your topic. You have a variety of connecting words. You have a key sentence from the very beginning in your topic. I mean, the reader can know very easily what you are talking about. For example, if you want to write about something, from the very beginning, in your first sentence, try to conclude, I mean, the topic of your, the topic of your writing. Am I right? The topic of your paragraph, your composition. That's it. In order not to waste time, let's go on, Mr. Mazen, please.
Yes, present perfect simple. More example, Samir has written 5 novels so far. Majida has got stomachache.
Please, the laptop, thank you.
She's had it for 3 days. I've just made tea. I have already read that book. She hasn't tidied her room yet.
All these are examples. Of course, each example talks about something.
Yes.
Or we have different cases here, or different situations.
And different.
Samir has written 5 novels so far. Here, we let's say try to express the repetition of an action before now.
How many times?
How many times the action happened up till now?
Yes.
So far, when we see this word, it is considered a keyword for the present perfect, because it means up till now. So, dear students, when you see so far, try to remember that here we are talking about an action that happened many times before now, or up till now. And in the second case, here for 3 days, here we have a duration, Mr. Mazen.
Yes.
Here we are talking about an action
yes.
that began, let's say, in the past, am I right? And continue to the present.
Yes.
In the next one, I've just made tea. Here we are talking about an action that has just been finished a few minutes ago. In the next one, already, we have already here, we are talking about something that has been already done or finished before now. This is the meaning of already.
All of them are keywords
and the last one,
simple.
yet. As you know, yet is used with the present perfect in the negative form and in questions. And it is used at the end of the sentence. This is the place of the word here at the end of the sentence. Next one, please.
Present perfect simple. It's used to say how many times the action happened before now. It has rained 3 times so far this week. It's used to talk about an action that has just finished or happened a few minutes before now.
Good.
She has just finished her project. He has already read the book.
As we said. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much. Before we go on, we have a call from Aleppo this time, Miss Lucia. Maybe Miriam?
Good morning.
Good morning or good afternoon?
Good afternoon.
Okay. Good
I
afternoon.
want to ask Miss Lucia a question.
Okay,
please.
Miss Lucia, please.
Yes, yes, Miriam.
What is the difference between past simple and past perfect, please? Because I can't recognize when should I use each one.
Okay.
You can give her a short, let's say,
We're going to talk
and then
about past
we're
simple
talking.
and past perfect. But in general, for example, I had cooked before you came. So the action of cooking happened before you come. So in this case, an action in the past that happened before another action also in the past. So this is the main difference between past simple and the past perfect.
Miriam.
Thank you, Miss Lucia.
Miriam,
Yes.
can you hear me before you go, before you leave? I'd
Yes,
like
I
to
can.
tell you something else. In general,
Yes.
Miriam, when you have two actions in the past, okay?
Okay.
One happened before another, okay?
Yes.
We we put the first action, I mean the action which happened first, in the past perfect, and the action
Okay.
which happened next in the past simple. That's it.
Okay, thank you
Okay?
so much.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Okay,
Good
goodbye.
luck.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
Good luck.
Yes.
Mr. Mazen, please.
Yes, the present perfect is used for a past action that has an effect in the present. The house is clean. Mom has cleaned it. So the result is now, and the house is clean. It's used for an action that has not been done or finished yet. We haven't visited Sami yet. This action has not happened yet. It's sometimes used for an action which began in the past and continued to the present. We've lived in Damascus for 5 years. Here we have to mention since and for, you know,
Yes.
in order to differentiate between since and for.
Yes.
Students have to know that we use for just
A duration.
duration.
After 4, we use a duration.
Duration.
2 weeks,
2
5 hours,
yes.
3 days.
A long day, yes. A long
Duration.
time, yes, duration.
But after since
we
use
have
a
to use
point of
point of time, specific.
Now,
yes.
when talking about the point of time, Mr. Mazen, here the point of time means an hour. We can say since 8 o'clock.
Yes.
It could be a day.
A day.
Since last Friday.
Since
it
summer.
could be a month.
A month.
Or a season.
A
Since
season.
last summer, since last June. And it could be a year, since 1990.
Okay.
And they should know also that after since we can use a clause.
A clause.
Since I was 10, for example.
So here is the answer to Ms. Razan, which is how to link the present perfect with the past. Only we can link the past, the present perfect with the past by using since. Because since, as you know, students, dear students, we use it for...
Since that time up till now.
Yeah, up till now.
This is the meaning of
yes,
since.
I have lived in Syria.
From that point.
Yeah, since I came here.
Yes.
I haven't seen him since he traveled. So this is the only case, I think, which has to do with linking
Yes.
the past with the present
Yes.
perfect.
Now,
Lucia.
the present perfect continuous.
Present
Miss Lucia.
perfect continuous. First of all, the form of present perfect continuous. The present perfect continuous is the present tense of have plus been plus the ing form of the verb. An example, it has been raining all day. How long have you been learning English? So we can say that the
They use
question
now.
how long answers what is present perfect continuous is. Uses. We use it for an action over a period of time up to now. An example, I've been waiting here for 20 minutes. You've been writing that letter since 10 o'clock. All these examples talks about present perfect continuous as a period of time up to now. We use it to talk about repeated actions up to now. An example, Nada has been playing the piano since she was 4. I have been going to evening classes this year.
And I'm still going to evening classes.
That's the point, that up to now,
Yes, repeated actions. Yes.
the action can end before the present. An example: I've been watching a sad film. That's why I'm crying now. I've been swimming. That's why my hair is wet. I've been looking after my little brother all afternoon. All these examples represent an action that can end before
Now,
the present
you mean
tense.
an action from the recent past.
That's
From
it.
the recent past.
And we've got here the
Yes.
result in front of us, because I've been swimming, so that's why my hair is wet. And that's why I'm crying in the first sentence.
The key words now.
We often use for, since, recently, lately, and how long with this tense. Examples: he has been staying at the hotel for 3 weeks. You've been writing that letter since 10 o'clock. I haven't been feeling very well recently. How long have you been waiting? Now, I have been doing, or I have done, and this is the
You
question
mean,
that most of the
Sometimes
students ask.
the students get confused when dealing with these two tenses.
How to differentiate.
They don't know which tense to use.
To use present
Yes.
perfect or present perfect
Good.
continuous. We normally use the continuous form with a phrase saying how long. An
Focuses
example,
on the duration.
on the duration. I've been writing letters since this morning. We use the simple form with a phrase saying how many. An example, I've written 10 letters.
Achievement.
So here
Yes.
we are talking
or
about the
Mr. Basil,
achievement.
finished activity or unfinished
Yes,
activity?
Unfinished
yes,
activity.
exactly.
Yes.
Again,
Again, we use the continuous form for a continuous action over a period. I've been writing an essay. I'm tired now. We use the simple form for a complete action. I've written an essay. I can hand it now.
before we go on, we have another call. Fadila from Damascus. Good afternoon, Fadila.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And
Good. We're fine, thank you. Well, I'm sure that you have a question. Your question, please.
you? My question is, can we use the present simple to express the future?
Can we use the present simple
To express the future?
to express the future? Of course we can.
Can I
Yeah.
answer?
My
example.
question is to Mr. Mazen.
Okay, Mr. Mazen.
Mr.
Why
Mazen?
not?
Okay.
She wants your answer.
Okay. Well, as you know, we can use a lot of tenses to express the future. One of them is simple present. It's used for scheduled action.
When we talk about a system that cannot be changed.
Yes, our timetable. For example, Fadili, you can say the
Yeah.
train leaves at 6 o'clock
My
in the morning.
train leaves at 6 o'clock
Yes.
tomorrow.
My plane, leaves at
Exactly.
or takes off at 6 o'clock.
Exactly. A system, Fadila, that cannot be changed. You cannot change this.
Because you
Yeah.
have not planned
You are
it.
talking about a system of a school, for example.
Yes.
Or,
Yeah.
or a system of a company. When we talk about a plane, for example. My
Yes.
plane leaves or arrives. Okay? A train.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's it. There is another use, in fact. When we use it with the future, the simple future, I mean, when Mazen arrives, okay, we will go shopping together. So when Mazen arrives
future.
here refers to the future. You see?
But-
then in the second clause we say, we will go shopping together. Okay? When you study hard,
You will
you will succeed
You will
or
pass
pass
the exam.
the final exam at the end of the year. And we are very sure that you will pass your exam
okay.
Yeah.
and you will get high marks.
Yes.
Do you have another question?
No, thank you, sir.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
your
Have a
call.
nice day.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Fadila, very much.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
Miss Lucia?
Yes, we've
You were
done with
talking
the
about the
present perfect
comparison.
and present perfect
We
continuous.
have finished.
Finished.
Now
Okay.
we're going to start with past tenses
Past,
with Mr.
yes.
Mazen.
Yes.
Exactly. As you said, Mr. Mazen, we use the simple form for a complete action. I've written an
Finished.
essay. I
Yes.
can hand it now.
No.
It's a complete action. That's why we say finished action.
Yes.
Okay, now the past tenses.
Yes, we use the past simple tense to talk about finished events in the past. He moved to Canada when he was 5. We played basketball yesterday. I passed the exam last year. I told you 5 minutes ago. The simple past, we used it in negative and questions. Negative, we didn't win the game. Questions, where did you stay?
Now the past continuous.
Past continuous. We use it to talk about something that was in progress, or to say that we were in the middle of an action.
That at that time.
Yes, at that time. Nasser was riding his bike when he fell off.
What was Nasser doing when he fell off?
He was riding his bike.
That's it. He was in the middle of the action.
Yes.
You see?
While I was shopping in the market, I met my friend. We were going to school when it rained.
Good.
Past continuous, we often use the past continuous and simple together when a shorter action interrupted a longer one. Came in the middle of it. I fell asleep while I was watching a television. So this is in the middle of the action. I was watching, I fell asleep in the middle. The phone rang while my mom was making lunch.
So an action that interrupted another action that was in progress in
the past. The past continuous, the form, it is formed with subject plus P in the past, was, where, plus verb plus ing form.
The past perfect.
Past
now,
perfect.
Lucia.
And here we can answer Miriam one more time about past perfect.
Now
and
we can answer Miriam.
Past simple. We use it to describe something that happened before a time or another action in the past. By 1854, a quarter of the population of Ireland had emigrated to America. Irish people emigrated because so many had died of starvation.
So let's stop here, please.
Yes, please.
Here we have a phrase, by 1854. What is the meaning of this phrase? By the way, I'd like to tell the students that there is a difference between a clause and a phrase. A clause, dear students, must contain a subject and a verb.
A verb.
For example, she swims. She speaks French. We call this a clause. But a phrase is a number of words which contains either a subject or a verb, but not both. So it is a number of words. It is a group of words. For example, at home. Is it a phrase or a clause?
It's a phrase.
It's a phrase. In 1990.
Phrase.
A phrase.
Phrase.
Are playing.
Phrase.
Because here we have a verb. We don't have a subject. So a phrase is not a clause. So here we have a phrase by 1854. What is the meaning now of this phrase? When we say by 1854, we mean that before the beginning of this year, before this year begins, something happened.
All the population had emigrated to America.
So this phrase is not a specific time.
That's
when we say in 1854, we should use the past simple.
Past simple.
When we say by 1854, we should use the past perfect, because it is not a specific time here.
So here we can consider it as a key word for the students.
The key word,
when you see by and, for example, 1854, here we have to use past
and
perfect.
There's something else. Irish people in the second sentence immigrated. Why? Why did they immigrate? Because something else had happened before this. And this thing pushed them to immigrate.
To immigrate. So had died happened first, then they emigrated.
Let's go now. Go on. We use it to talk about...
We use it to talk about a situation, state, feeling, or action in the past. Tariq felt nervous because he had never flown before. When I read the letter, I couldn't stop smiling. I passed all my exams. In this example and the example before, here we've got a situation in the past that happened before another situation in the past.
What about the past perfect continuous now?
Past perfect continuous. First of all, the form. The past perfect continuous is had, been, plus the verb in the ing form. He had been working very hard.
Why do we use it?
We use it for an action over a period up to a past time. I went to the dentist on Thursday. My tooth had been aching since Monday. I found the calculators yesterday. I'd been looking for it for some time.
Let's stop here. Maybe Mr. Khalid, when he called us and
he asked about this point.
Here, I went to the dentist on Thursday. Why? Because my tooth had been aching since Monday. Here, in this case, in this situation, I think we should use the continuous form, not the simple form, because here we are trying to express an action which was in progress. There was a continuity of this action, and it needed a length of time. So when, because it needed a length of time, and at that time my tooth was still, let's say, aching me, and because we have a duration since Monday at that time, you see, we say had been aching since Monday, not had ached since Monday.
That's it.
In this case. So there are some cases, Mr. Khalid. In these cases, you should tell the students that in this case, we can only use the continuous form, not the simple form. But in general, when we have a duration, for and since, we can use both. But sometimes, if the action was still going on, you should use the continuous form, not the simple form. The second example, again, I found the calculator yesterday. I'd been looking for it for some time. Here, I had looked. I can say I had looked here in this case. Here, the second one can be used. We can use the past perfect simple. Miss Lucia, now the comparison.
The question is, I had been doing or I had done. We use the continuous for an action over a period and the simple for a complete action. I'd been washing the car, my hands were wet. I'd washed the car, I looked nice and clean.
It looked nice and clean. Yes. Now the future forms.
Yes.
Mr. Mazen, you have only 1 minute.
1 minute. We use will to predict the future. The weather will get weather. The weather will get hotter. We use will for action that we decided now. At the moment of speaking, I will make some tea. We also we can use be going to express the future for an action that we have decided before we speak. I'm not going to watch TV tonight. I'm going to read a book.
Here we have a decision.
A decision.
When talking about a decision that we have taken before we speak, we can use going to.
But also we have
when we have sudden decisions, we should use will, not going to. But in the exam. Now, in the exam, I know the students now should like to know which tense to use.
Should I?
You can use both. For example, my family, between brackets, leave to Homs tomorrow.
Okay.
So you can say will leave, or you can say are leaving, you can say are going to leave, or is going to leave. Because when we use a group noun, I mean my family, if we use are, we are talking about the members of my family. If we use is, we are talking about my family as
one unit.
One unit, one block. That's it. So we can say my family is going to leave and my family are going to leave to Homs tomorrow. Both of them are correct. Don't worry about this. At the end of this seminar, dear students, we hope that we have covered everything in Unit 1 and in Unit 2. Of course, in our next seminars, we will try to highlight some, as I said, important points in your curriculum. At the end, I'd like to thank my colleagues, Miss Lucia Karim from Aleppo Directorate.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much for your participation. Thanks for coming from Aleppo. Mr. Mazen Abdul Karim, an English teacher from Damascus Countryside Directorate. Thank you very much for your participation. You have really both enriched our seminar for today. Thanks for the students who called us in our seminar for today. At the end, dear students, dear colleagues, this is Bassel Sadiq speaking from the Syrian Education Channel from Damascus. Till we meet in other seminars, we wish you all the best. Goodbye. Thank you.